Look at any animal, and you're looking at a creature that doesn't know it will die. A deer at a river, a bird at its nest, a lion in the sun. They feel hunger. They feel fear. They run when danger comes. But not one wakes knowing that someday it simply won't. They live inside this moment. The ending never enters their minds. And here's the truth. For most of our history, neither did ours. There was a time your ancestors were just like that deer. They felt fear. They fled the saber-toothed cat. They grieved when one fell. But they didn't yet carry the thought that now lives inside you every day. The thought that you are going to die. Stop and feel that thought. Not as fear, just as fact. One day, you will end. You know this. You always have. It sits so deep, you've stopped noticing it. But somewhere in the deep past, there was a first time. A first mind that looked at a still body and understood what no creature had before. That stillness is permanent. And one day it comes for me too. That realization may be the most important thought our species ever had. It changed how we lived, loved, buried our dead, and found meaning in a fragile life. So when did it happen? When did a creature first look death in the face and know it? And what did it do to us? To become the only animal aware of its own ending. That's the story. And it reaches into your thoughts right now. To grasp the leap, understand the mind we began with, so become the animal again. Imagine waking with no yesterday, no tomorrow, only now. Warm sun, hunger, the smell of water. You don't worry about next week. It doesn't exist for you. You don't fear growing old. The idea of your future has never formed. This is how most creatures experience their whole lives. This doesn't mean animals feel nothing about death. That matters. An elephant stands over a fallen herd member for hours. A mother nudges her still calf again and again, trying to wake it. Some animals sense something is wrong, something missing. But sensing a body has gone still isn't knowing what death is. Feel the difference. There is fear, and there is knowledge. When a deer hears a wolf, it runs in terror. That's fear. Every animal has it, but the deer doesn't lie awake on a safe night thinking, "My time will run out." It doesn't count its years or picture its end. It simply lives. That second thing, the calm, certain knowledge of your own death, is something else. It isn't fear of a danger before you. It's awareness of an ending not yet come. And as far as we know, almost no other animal carries it. They have the fear, not the knowledge. So for hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors lived in that present, afraid of the lion, but not yet of time. So what does it take for a mind to break the present and see its ending coming? To know you will die, your mind must do something extraordinary. It must travel in time. Not literally, but in your head, you do it constantly. Right now, you can picture yourself tomorrow. Next year, old. Close your eyes and try. Picture yourself decades from now, much older. You can almost see it, can't you? A stunning ability, used without thinking. Scientists call this mental time travel, projecting yourself into a future that doesn't exist yet. It may be one of the rarest gifts in the animal kingdom. A deer can't. It can't picture itself old, years from now. It's locked in the present, behind what we might call the wall of now. For most of life's history, every creature lived behind it. The future was invisible. And if you can't see the future, you can't see death waiting in it. Now feel what happens when a mind climbs that wall. Suddenly, you imagine tomorrow. Plan. Recall last winter, prepare for the next. A huge survival advantage, storing food, planning hunts, avoiding mistakes. But it comes with a shadow, a terrible side effect. Because once you can picture your future, you can picture its end. The same power that lets you imagine yourself with grandchildren also lets you imagine the moment after your last breath. You can't have one without the other. The gift and shadow arrive together. So picture an ancestor whose mind has just crossed that wall. For the first time, they see the seasons ahead, themselves aging, and then, perhaps watching an elder weaken, a thought forms at the mind's edge. If I can picture myself older, what's at the end of that picture? Feel the vertigo of that question forming for the first time, with no one to explain it. No religion, no stories of death, no comfort, just a mind, alone, staring into its future, and seeing, at its end, a darkness it can't avoid. This is when everything changes. Not a discovery in the world, one inside the skull. It comes not from finding something new, but from being able to think something new. And once that thought exists, it can't be put back. You can't unknow that you'll die. Try right now to forget, even for a second, that your life is finite. You can't, can you? The knowledge is permanent, woven into you. That's what happened to our species. Somewhere in the deep past, a mind crossed the wall of now, looked ahead, and saw the end. And from that moment, we were a different creature. The only animal that spends its life knowing how it ends. But knowing it in your head is only half the story. The other half came from outside, because death didn't only grow from imagining the future. It was also taught, unforgettably, by the bodies of those we lost. So go back and stand where your ancestors stood. Someone you traveled and slept beside has fallen. Picture them on the ground. Yesterday they spoke. Today, silent. You touch their shoulder. It's cold in a way a sleeping body never is. You say their name. Nothing. You wait for breath. It doesn't come. Feel that confusion, stripped of all you've been taught about death. No funeral, no explanation, no word for it. Only the stillness. You've seen sleep. This isn't sleep. You've seen sickness. Not that either. This is new. Something that doesn't end. And slowly, you understand it. They aren't coming back. Not tomorrow. Not ever. And here the human mind does what no animal mind seems to. It doesn't just register the still body. It connects that stillness to itself. You look at them, and a cold understanding moves through you. That is going to be me. One day others will crouch over my body, wait for breath that doesn't come. Feel how enormous that leap is. From they are gone, to I will go too. An animal feels the first. Only we, it seems, are haunted by the second. This is the bridge between the inner thought and the outer world. Your mind learns to time travel, and a still body shows where the journey ends. The two halves lock together, and the realization is complete. Now look how the response changes. An animal eventually walks away and returns to the present. But our ancestors began doing something stranger, heavier. They lingered. They returned. They couldn't stop thinking of the one gone. Because the body was no longer just a body. It was a message. A message about their own future, written in someone they loved. And slowly, across countless such moments, a new behavior appeared. They stopped leaving their dead where they fell. They began to do something with them, to mark it, to treat it as meaningful. And here, the story stops being only a guess inside our heads. Because here, death awareness starts leaving physical traces. Traces in the ground we can still dig up today. The first hard evidence a creature had begun to understand its own end. How do you find proof of a thought from 100,000 years ago? You can't dig up an idea, but you can dig up what people did because of it. And the clearest sign humans understood death is simple. They began to bury each other on purpose. Think what a deliberate burial really means. An animal that dies in the wild is left behind, scattered, forgotten. But to dig a grave and lay a body in it with care takes something extraordinary. It means you understand this person is gone, and the moment deserves marking. Death becomes an event, not just an absence. And we've found these burials deep in our past. In a cave called Shanidar, in the mountains of modern Iraq, lay the remains of Neanderthals. Not our species, but close relatives with brains as large as ours. Some appear placed in the ground deliberately, tens of thousands of years ago. One, Shanidar 1, lived to old age despite severe injuries. A damaged arm, a head wound. Feel what that tells you. He was hurt, half blind, unable to fend for himself. Yet he survived years. Which means others cared for him, fed him, kept him alive. A group that cares for its weak has begun to see each life as mattering. At La Chapelle-aux-Saints in France, a Neanderthal man was found in what looks like a deliberate grave. An old man, apparently laid to rest with intention, not discarded. For creatures once called brutish, this is staggering. They grieved, buried, cared. But the story may reach back even further and stranger. Deep in a Spanish cave lies Cima de los Huesos, the pit of bones. At the bottom of a deep shaft lay dozens of ancient humans. They are astonishingly old, roughly 400,000 years. And here's the haunting part. Some believe these bodies were placed there deliberately, that early humans carried their dead to that shaft, a possible mortuary ritual. This is debated, and we should be honest. We can't be certain what was in their minds. But if true, death awareness may be far older than we imagined. Older than our species, a thought already stirring in distant ancestors, and burial was only the beginning. Look what came with it. At many ancient sites, the dead were buried with objects, tools, beads, bones. Why place a tool beside a body that can't use it? Picture doing it. You'd only give the dead a gift if death meant something to you. If part of you felt the person still was someone to honor. And then there's the color red. Again and again, ancient burials show red ochre, a pigment ground from earth. Bodies were sprinkled with it, painted, laid to rest in it. Red, the color of blood, of life, marking the moment life ended. We don't know exactly what it meant, but it meant something. You don't decorate a death you don't comprehend. Each act, the grave, the gift, the ochre, is a fingerprint of the same realization. That a life had ended, that it mattered, that the same end waited for all. These aren't the behaviors of animals reacting to a still body. They're the behaviors of minds that know what stillness is, and that it's coming for them too. Somewhere across these hundreds of thousands of years, the realization became complete. Death stopped being a thing that simply happened, and became something understood, feared, honored, prepared for. Once we knew, what did that knowledge do to us? Because knowing you will die isn't small information. It's a force. It reshaped our species from the inside out. Start with the weight of it. We're the only animal that lives its whole life knowing it will end. Feel that burden. Every plan made against an unseen deadline. No other creature carries this. The deer grazes in peace. We graze knowing the field has edges. This could have been unbearable, a constant paralyzing dread. So our minds and cultures did something remarkable in response. We built meaning on top of the fear. Almost every religion we ever created wrestles with death. What happens after, whether anything continues, how to face the end. These may be the oldest comfort our species ever made. A way to face the darkness our minds revealed and survive it. And it didn't stop at religion. Look at art. So much of what we create attempts to outlast ourselves. A painting, a story, a name in stone, something that doesn't die when we do. There is even a name for how the awareness of death drives human behavior. Researchers call it terror management. Much of what we do quietly responds to knowing we'll die. We build, create, and join things larger than ourselves. Partly, the theory suggests, to feel part of us goes on after our bodies don't. Feel how much of your own life this quietly touches. The urge to be remembered, to matter, to make your short time count. That urge may descend from the first realization that your time is short at all. But here's the part that turns the whole story around. Knowing death didn't only bring fear, it brought the opposite too. It brought urgency, preciousness, the sharp awareness that time runs out. An animal living forever in the present can't treasure a moment. It doesn't know moments end, but you do, and that changes everything. The reason a sunset stops you, the reason holding someone you love aches, it's because underneath you know it won't last forever. Death gives life its edges, and edges give it shape. Our ancestors gained the heaviest knowledge any mind has carried, but carrying it, they also found life achingly precious. They learned to grieve, but also to cherish, to fear the end, but to fill the time before. That's the double-edged gift hidden inside the realization that we die. And now turn all of this around and look at yourself, because you aren't just hearing this story, you're living its result. That realization your ancestors stumbled into. You woke with it this morning. It's inside you right now, as quiet and constant as your heartbeat. You know you will die. You always have, and you carry it without noticing, but feel how it secretly shapes you. Every time you wonder if you're spending your life well, that's it. Every time you feel time moving too fast, that's it too. Every time you want to be remembered, to matter, that's the same ancient thought. The one that first bloomed over a still body long ago. You're connected to that first human by an unbroken thread of the same knowledge. They felt the vertigo first. You've felt it your whole life. And like them, you have a choice in how you carry it. You can let the knowledge of the end become only a weight. Or you can let it do the other thing it always could. Let it make the time you have feel rare, bright, worth attention. Think of someone you love and feel how knowing nothing lasts makes them more precious. That ache isn't a flaw. It's the gift inside the realization, working as it always has. The same awareness that frightened your ancestors let them love so fiercely. That let them honor their dead, paint caves, hold their children tighter. You carry the heaviest knowledge in the animal kingdom, but you also carry what it unlocked. The ability to find a short life worth living. No deer at the river will feel that. No lion in the sun. Only us. Only the animal that knew. So next time the thought drifts up, that quiet awareness your time is finite, don't only flinch from it. Remember what it gave you, along with the fear. It gave you tomorrow, meaning the power to treasure a single ordinary day. It's the price of being human. And maybe the very best part. That's what our ancestors really discovered when they first realized they would die. So, when did ancient humans first realize they would die? Not in a single afternoon. Not in one flash of understanding. It came slowly, across hundreds of thousands of years. It came as our minds learned to travel in time and saw, at the future's edge, an end. It came as we crouched over those we loved and understood. That will be me. It came as we buried our dead, marked them, colored their graves with red. Piece by piece, the most extraordinary realization in our history took shape. The knowledge that we are finite, that our time ends. It's the thought that separates us from the deer, the lion, the nesting bird. They live in an endless present, never knowing it will close. We live knowing, and that knowing made us who we are. It gave us grief and religion, art and urgency, fear and love. It's the heaviest thing we carry, and what makes the carrying matter. Look back once more at that first mind crossing the wall of now. Alone, with no comfort, seeing for the first time that its life would end. It must have been terrifying, a weight no creature had borne. But from that moment came everything that makes us human. The need to leave a mark, to honor a life, to love something because it won't last. You are the heir of that first realization. It's in you right now, the quiet knowing, running beneath your whole life. And you decide what to do with it. You can let it weigh you down, or wake you up. You can let it remind you your time isn't endless, which is what makes it precious. The deer at the river will never know its story is finite. But you know. And in that knowing is both the sorrow and wonder of being alive. Our ancestors paid with the first fear of death the world ever felt, and handed it to you, with everything it unlocked. So when the thought comes, as it always does, that one day you'll be gone, let it do what it was meant to. Let it make you look up, look around, and see the gift of being here at all. Because that, in the end, is what your ancestors truly discovered. Not just that they would die, but that for now they were alive, and so are you, and so are